Up Ravers. This week's review has been selected by the winner of the inaugural Brainiac Challenge over on Patreon. We had a nickel quiz, and the winner got to pick their choice of film for review. And the winner was Julie, with a maximum 12 out of 12 on the quiz. She did brilliantly, did Julie. Anyway, Julie selected The Day at Jackal. Now, the film kicks off in the aftermath of some important government meeting, and we see all the ministers getting picked up in these crappy Citroens. I'd have thought they'd be driven in like big Mercedes or something like that, but yeah, it's the French, isn't it? Maybe sticking with French manufacturers. I suppose it'd be like the British government getting picked up in a load of Mini Coopers. Anyway, one of the Citroens is carrying the French president, Charles de Gaulle, and we hear an accompanying voiceover telling us about the extremist organisation, the OAS, who are pissed off with de Gaulle, and consequently try and bump him off. Pretty clumsy attempt, to be fair. Now, after the assassination attempt fails, most of the perpetrators are rounded up, including this former army colonel bloke who gets hauled up in front at firing squad. So the remaining members of the OAS, which incidentally stands for Organisation Armée Secrète. I don't think I've pronounced that right, have I? Yeah, anyway, the remaining members, they have to go into hiding, but they still want to bump off de Gaulle. But because any French bloke's doing out suspect will alert the authorities, they decide to recruit an English assassin to bump him off. Played by incredibly posh actor Edward Fox. He really is ever so posh, Edward Fox, isn't he? Sort of like that when he talks, isn't he? Very posh. Anyway, he agrees to do it for a lot of money.
How much do you want?
$500,000.
What?
In cash. Half in advance and half on completion.
Doesn't seem a lot now, but I had a look at the inflation rate. That's worth over $5 million now. So, yeah. I don't know if that's a good rate to pay or not for assassinating a president. You know, considering risk involved. Anyway, the wheels are set in motion, and to protect identities, a code name is agreed.
Why not the Jackal?
So, the Jackal starts researching and preparing for how he's going to assassinate de Gaulle. Incidentally, that Edward Fox is deceptively small. Oh, that book is massive. But yeah, the Jackal starts forging some new ID documents after assuming the identity of a dead person and getting some help with the forged documents courtesy of a young Ronald Pickup. But Ronald Pickup tries to push his luck a little bit.
I give you the original driving license and all those negatives I took of you for a certain sum of money.
How much?
£1,000.
Yeah, not wise when you're dealing with a trained assassin. And this scene gives us an early indication as to how ruthless the Jackal is. Look at that. Punch to the solar plexus and a James Bond chop to the neck, and he's out of it. Then fold him up, pop him in the box. Oh, he's dead. Oh, that really were a mistake, Mr. Pickup. What were you thinking? Now, we also see the Jackal getting some bits and bobs together, presumably for a disguise and not a Frank Spencer impersonation. And he appears to be doing a little bit of a recce of Paris, presumably to find a decent spot where he can bump off de Gaulle.
All my tenants are on holiday.
Oh, that's convenient, isn't it? Old apartment block deserted. Perfect place to commit a murder. Now, as well as deciding on his location for his murder, the Jackal also needs a sniper rifle, doesn't he? And he gets a very slimline bespoke jobby, as manufactured by Cyril Cusack. And it all cleverly fits into a nickel tube, where he can hide under his car. Now, while he's busy prepping his murder, the French security services have got wind of the OAP's plan of the Jackal's assassination attempt. But that's about as much as they know.
If the police can't arrest him, how can we? We don't know who to arrest.
So the police have to do some serious deducing in order to find out what the bloody hell's going on. Now what we get here is a bit of a tag team of famous faces. Far too famous for what they've been in. These are all famous actors. First up we see Timothy West. Very familiar face for British audiences, but for you overseas ravers, might not have seen him in as much. He was the chap who turned into a bee in the famous Tales of the Unexpected episode. Now, he plays a police commissioner, and he delegates the investigation to his second-in-command. So he tags in Michael Lonsdale, a.k.a. Hugo Drax, from Moonraker. I think this is the third review in a row I've mentioned Moonraker. Anyway, he is Deputy Commissioner Claude Lebel. Great performance from Lonsdale in this, because he's very likeable. Completely opposite to the megalomaniac Drax, what you see in Bond. Now, he needs some help, so he tags in his assistant, played by Derek Jacobi. Of course, famous Shakespearean actor, been in many things, including I, Claudius and Cadfael, where we're the crime-fighting monk. And Derek Jacobi's tasked with contacting his counterparts around the world to see if they've got any inside info on who this Jackal fella is. So he tags in Donald Sinden. Of course, famous for many things, but for you overseas ravers, starred in Never the Twain for several years, alongside Windsor Davies. Now, Donald Sinden is the Met Police Commissioner, and obviously shit rolls downhill, and he can't be bothered to look into it. So he tags in his deputy superintendent, played by Tony Britton. Of course, famous for many things, but for you overseas ravers who may be less familiar with him, he was in Robin's Nest and Don't Wait Up for several years. And Tony Britton's superintendent tags in a chap from the Foreign Office, hoping that they might have some leads as to who this Jackal bloke is. They might have seen him doing shifty stuff overseas. And this chap is played by Terence Alexander. Again, very famous actor, but if you overseas ravers ain't seen him in too much stuff, well, over here he played Charlie Hungerford in Bergerac. Cracking theme tune, Bergerac. Up until they redid it, they snazzed it up for the later series, but it was crap. Can't really remember what Charlie Hungerford did in Bergerac. He just were in it every week. I think he might have been Bergerac's father-in-law or something, but he was somehow connected to the crime every week. He was sort of equal parts jovial or grumpy and bad-tempered, depending on whether or not Bergerac shafted his plans.
Bloody hell. Bloody hell.
Anyway, I've lost my train of thought again there. Yeah, Terence Alexander from the Home Office, he comes up with a name.
Charles Harold Calthrop.
And he makes a clever observation.
Well, your friend's code name is Jackal, right? Well, Jackal in French is Jackal. See? Now, it might just be a coincidence, but the first three letters of his Christian name, Charles, and the first three letters of Calthrop make up...
I reckon Tony Britton's been a bit harsh there. I thought that were clever. Bloomin' heck. I bet Charlie Hungerford wouldn't have been impressed with that response.
Bloody ridiculous.
So, the French police are now on the Jackal's case, and his contacts in the OAP let him know that his cover's blown.
Repeat, the Jackal is blown.
So he has to make the decision. Does he abort mission, or does he crack on, because he's got another $250,000 waiting for him if he does it? Well, no prizes for guessing which one of those options he picks. And we get a thrilling second half of the movie, where even though the French authorities are seemingly hot on his heels, he's always one step ahead on them. And we get to see loads of examples of the Jackal's ingenuity, different ways of avoiding detection. We see him as a master of disguise, taking on different personas, courtesy of a spot of Grecian 2000. Admittedly, this one's a bit Clive Dunnish, but the leg thing's clever, isn't it? That's very clever. And here he's respraying his car so he doesn't get pulled over. And he's nicked some number plates from this couple who were at a local dogging site. Very clever. And here he is ingratiating his son with this lady to make it look like he's in a couple, as opposed to a lone assassin travelling by his son. Incidentally, notice how when they're lying down, his head only comes up to her shoulders. So either Edward Fox is deceptively small, or that lady's massive. Okie-do, on to Ray's ratings. Well, it had been years, properly like 20, 30 years at least since I saw this film. I couldn't remember out about it, so it was like watching it anew. But I remember it being good, and loads of folks said it was dead good. So, yeah, I was hoping for at least a 3-star film. And yes, it was very good. Very good, this. The tension builds up, and there's the game of cat and mouse between the Jackal and the French police. How they're going to get him, you don't know. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. And I enjoyed spotting the famous faces as well. Lots of big name actors in this, in the younger days. So yeah, I thought it was great. So I'm rating The Day of the Jackal 4-star, 3-star film. Now, something I ain't mentioned is how dapper Edward Fox looks in this film. He's always very well dressed. Loves a cravat. So it's time for a brand new feature. Check that cravat. Okie do. First up then, we got this plain brown one he's wearing here. Simple but classy. Next up we got what looks like a burgundy with white polka dots on it. Bit more racy that one, isn't it? Then we got this white one with what looks like sort of swirly black patterns on it. Yeah, it's a good one that. I like that one. Classic paisley now. Yeah, can't go wrong with that, can you? He's got this sort of red and blue and white one. That looks very good. Quite a patriotic one, that one. If them colours are in your flag. But yeah, it might be my favourite, that one. This one, that's the burgundy one. We've had that one already, ain't we? Hey, incidentally, either Edward Fox is deceptively small, or that lime he's holding is massive. Well, I hope you enjoyed my review of Day at Jackal Ravers, and if you did, poke the old like button for me, give it a good old poke, or maybe you could take a pot shot at it from 100 yards away, like the Jackal would do. And remember to share our reviews with your mates, and subscribe to the channel if you ain't already a subscriber, very much appreciated. And thanks as well to Julie for picking it, thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, apologies if I don't get around to responding to all these wonderful comments you lot keep popping on, but thank you very much for those. I really do enjoy reading them, so keep them coming. And if you fancy supporting my channel, come and join me over on Patreon and become a patron or a nickel patron. Your support is massively appreciated. I'll pop a link in the description below. And copyright box permitting, I will be back with another review for you very soon. So I will see you next time. Okie do.